This is no ordinary sub shop. This is Firehouse Subs.
Welcome to Firehouse!
Tired of overpriced lunches that underdeliver on flavor? Head to Firehouse Subs, where for a limited time you can get a $4.99 choice sub. Choose from a medium smoked turkey, Virginia honey ham, or roast beef. They're custom-made hot subs at a price ready-made to make you smile. Just $4.99, only at Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs, save more lives. Participating locations plus tax, limited time offer. Prices may vary for delivery.
And now, prepare your ear holes for penetration as we bring you another great podcast from the Poop Culture Extended Universe.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 51 of the Video Rangers podcast. Chris and I traveled to the 2017 Rhode Island Comic Con this weekend with some members of the PCEU, and we sat in on the RICC panel with Carl Weathers and Dolph Lundgren, and we're going to play that panel for you right now.
Everybody, hey. I just want to let you know they are on the way, and I see people are still loading in, so we're going to hold up for about 4 or 5 minutes if that's okay with you guys. I see this guy nodding over here. It seems like it's okay with you guys. I'm just going to take this one guy's opinion for all of you guys. So it'll start in about 4 or 5 minutes. They're on their way, but thank you guys so much for being here. Rhode Island Comic Con. You guys have fun? Yeah. We'll get you way more excited in a little bit, I promise. All right, Rhode Island Comic Con. How you guys feeling out there? All right, so if you guys want me to be all sing a song real quick. Bum 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 bum. She was supposed to yell that. Alright guys, you guys know what you're here for. Thank you so much for coming to Rhode Island Comic Con. There will be a Q&A section, so you'll see someone wearing a red shirt like that, walking around with a microphone like this. You do not have to keep your hand up the whole time. They'll just look around and see hands. You guys can just wave me down, they'll come to you. And then, just be respectful, ask good questions. We like all you guys. Round of applause for the Wonder Woman's in the house. 1 and 2, I see. A round of applause for everybody. Alright guys, so without further ado, your moderator, Kevin Lyle, give him a warm round of applause, please!
A lot of Rocky fans here. Those that comes out this time. That's cool. We're going to get right to it because we're running a little bit late. So without further ado, from the Expendable films, The Punisher, one of my favorite Universal soldiers, and of course Rocky IV, Mr. Ivan Jar himself, Dolph Lundgren. Great films like Predator and, of course, the Rocky series. The King of Sting, the Master of Disaster, the Count of Monte Cristo, former heavyweight champion of the world, Apollo Creed, Carl Weathers. I want you.
The toughest adversary ever in movie history. The toughest ever.
Absolutely. How you guys doing today?
What do you want?
Well, I wanted to talk to you because usually it's good before you do an interview to sit down and talk to the actor. No, he's like, just like Apollo. He's like, no man, I ain't talking to you.
I didn't use the word "and." Okay? I speak improper "and."
Oh,
I don't use "and."
That was my talk earlier.
I don't use "and." No, it's just because you're a theatrical guy. That's what you're pulling on us right now.
No, I'm just an artist. Anyway.
Come on, folks, we're having fun. You think we're serious up here? I just like you couldn't hear a cricket going.
He's scared the crap out of me backstage.
All right, okay.
But I know that both you gentlemen actually have really interesting stories that got you injured. I'm going to talk about all of your careers, but I thought we'd start with Rocky, and I think that's the best place to go is the beginning. And both you gentlemen have really interesting stories about how you got the part. So, Carl, I thought I'd start with you.
Okay.
Well, you had a good story.
It's a story. I don't know how good it is. So I guess that's the cue to tell the story.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I was a young actor in Los Angeles, and just as young actors are, they're looking for work, and they're looking for work on things that they think are good and exciting and that they want to be a part of. And I got this script from my then agent who told me basically, you're not supposed to have the script because they're not interested in you. I was nobody. And I did read the script, and I thought, wow, man. To that day, it was the best thing I'd ever read. And I couldn't see me not doing that part, because as any kid was at that time, you grew up, you wanted to be like Muhammad Ali. And I saw this Muhammad Ali-esque character, and all I could do was dream about, yes, I'm the guy for that role. So eventually, I think they'd seen just about everybody in Los Angeles that they wanted it for the role, and nobody wanted to do it, or they probably didn't have enough money to pay anybody, because that movie was made, it budgeted for under $1 million, so it was a really low budget movie. Yeah, the movie went over, and I think it went over maybe $100,000 or something, which, you know, if you got under $1 million, to go over $100,000 is 10%. That's a lot of money to go over. But eventually, I think the producers stepped up and mortgaged their homes, and that's why they're so wealthy today, because they jumped in on financing the movie. But anyway, I went in one Friday afternoon. I remember there was, you know, some cattle call where you have all these actors out there, and there's probably in Los Angeles any actor who was black who could stand and walk and talk without falling over or crumbling. They had in that room. And in walks this young actor, Carl Weathers, and I'm scared to death because, man, these guys, a lot of them I recognize. I've seen them in movies and television. But, come on, I think this role is me. So eventually I get my turn to go in, and, you know, I'm chomping at the bit. And the producers I meet, and the director, John Avildsen, I meet, and a couple other people in there, casting person. And finally, after they ask me some questions, you know, the interview process, this guy walks through the door and sits down at a table, and I'm standing up, and I'm introduced to the guy who's the writer. And okay, so the writer is sitting here at a table just like this, and I'm standing up above him, and we start doing the lines. And he's kind of sitting there, going through it, doing what he does, and talking. Hardly ever looks at me, right? And I'm chomping at the bit. I'm giving it everything I have. And so at the end of it, there was kind of silence, except for the producers and the director. And then I heard a little laughter, and it made me really nervous because I thought I'd blown it. And I just said to them, you know, if you get me a real actor, I can do a really good job. And now they really laughed. I guess they thought I was joking. I was funny. I wasn't trying to be funny. I wanted that job, and I thought I'd blown it. Well, the rest of the story is eventually I realized that the writer was going to be the star, and that was Sylvester Stallone. So I just put my foot in my mouth without knowing it, which is probably what I've done a lot of times. But that was sort of how it came about. I went off there and I told them I could box, which of course I couldn't. I never boxed. And they took me to a gym with Jimmy Gambino, who was the little guy in Sly's Corner, and a really great middleweight named Frankie Crawford. And after about 3 minutes, I couldn't keep my arms up. I was so tired because I didn't know what I was doing. But I was an athlete, so I think they just kind of bought it. And I was kind of brash, and I was all that sort of stuff, which was Apollo Creed to them. And I think at the end of the day, I think Sly probably said, yeah, let's cast this guy because I want to beat the hell out of him. And that's how it happened. So there's how I got the movie.
Same question to you, Mr. Lundgren. How did you get involved with Rocky IV?
That was a good story, Carl.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see if I can
I stole his story, that's why I said it.
I just started acting, actually. I was a chemical engineering student and a karate champion. And I came to New York and I fell in love with this girl. It was a singer, Grace Jones, from the 80s, and you remember her. And I dated. And her agent became kind of my agent, even though I hadn't done anything. But I studied some acting, and they set me up for a bunch of roles. One was a boxing movie, and there was about 50 guys in the line, and I stood there until I got to the small table. There was a lady sitting there, and she said, next. And I go, okay, and my name is, so she said, how tall are you? And I said, 6'5". And she said, that's too tall, next. And I'm like, shit, and I saw the sign behind it said Rocky 4, and kind of handwritten. I thought, wow, you know, because I like the Rocky movies, because I used to listen to Rocky 3 music when I was fighting myself in karate, so I figured, I gotta try to get that part somehow. And my acting coach knew somebody who said they'd met Sylvester Stallone, so I took some pictures in boxing gear and gave it to my acting coach, and it turned out nothing happened for about 4 months. And I went back to Europe with Grace. She was working on a Bond movie with Chris Walken and Roger Moore, and I was kind of hanging around there a little bit. Finally, somebody called me after 4 months and said, "Oh, thank God I found you. I've been looking for you." Well, why? Because we've got these pictures, and Stallone wants to meet you. So they flew me into LA, and I was in a taxi there going to Paramount Studios, where we had an office, and behind Paramount Studios, you see the Hollywood sign up there. And I was like, "Ooh, okay, wow, this is kind of exciting. Wonder what's going to happen." And I came in there in his office, and he was going to do Rambo 2. He had long hair, and he was really tan and buff, really muscular. A little shorter than I thought, but I didn't expect it, so I went that up, you know. He still looks good. So he showed me a bunch of binders, because they didn't have computers in those days, you know. Rambo in his office. I got 1,000 guys up for this one. Okay. Yeah, they got to put on some weight, you know. So I got to lift some weights, and then finally he gave me a little monologue I had to memorize. And then I went back to New York. I trained for about 4 or 5 months. And then they took me to LA for a screen test. So I knew this was it. So I worked on my character quite a bit. So I get to the hotel, go down and have breakfast, and I'm on the strict diet, so I eat like a third of a banana or something for breakfast. So when I go back up, the elevator's open, and there's this 6'5" blonde guy looking at me. Excuse me, some big Russian guy. And then run into another big blonde guy, another Russian, and I'm like, oh shit, okay. So there's not just me, and there's a few other people around for this part. So anyway, there was 3 of us, and we ended up at MGM Studios on the sound stage, and I get in there, and they told us to change into boxing trunks, and we had like 3 dressing rooms. And I get in there, there's the lights are set up, there's like a mark on the floor, there's a camera on the dolly track, and then there's about 50 people behind the camera. And I saw through the glare, Stallone and a couple of bodyguards, a bunch of people in suits. I was like, oh shit, okay, here we go. Anyway, I did my monologue, which was actually used in one of the teaser trailers. It kind of goes like, my name is Drago, I'm a fighter from the Soviet Union. It starts like that. And anyway, they did the shot with the camera dollies in. I did it last. The first 2 Russian guys, they were screaming like a Russian Mr. T. We'll destroy you, we'll kill you. You know, obviously I kind of played it very cold. I just stood there, kind of internalized it. So a couple of days later, Stallone called me. Hey, you got the part, kid, you know. And then I moved to LA on January 85. And here you go. 5 months later, we started shooting a picture. Ran into this guy, and 3 or 4 months later, I sat down in the theater. Nobody knew who I was. 90 minutes later, the lights came up, and everybody's looking at me, taking pictures of me, and here you go. I walked out of the theater going, what the hell happened?
You know what? Sincerely, honestly, no matter how many guys went in there, this was the guy. This was the guy.
Thanks, man. No, it's true, and maybe you're right, but as a matter of fact, now I'm getting, see my short hair and everything, and so back in the gym again, because I may be coming back next year. Destroy the Americans.
That was actually one of my questions a couple months later. That's all you can say.
No, actually, I'm waiting to read the script. MGM is doing this picture, you know, and Stallone is, I think Stallone is directing, and I think he's certainly written the script. So, and I know he's a really good screenwriter. I mean, he's very, very good. So, yeah, I look forward to seeing it and reading it actually, and then we'll see how it goes. But if it does work out, it'll be fun.
I think it's a good. I can't wait to see it. Yeah. But
It's kind of weird because I never thought I'd pull this damn trunks on again. You know, I was thinking, keep it for future generations.
Yeah. All right, Carl, I want to talk to you about what was your reaction when you found out Apollo Creed was going to die in Rocky IV? That must have been. Who's the character you played?
Well, it's kind of mixed, of course, because when you do something, particularly because the movies were so well received all around the world. And how many times does an actor get a chance to do something in a movie that basically, I mean, I don't care how many boxing movies there are ever made, that series of movies is just like at the top, you know? So, to hear that the character's going to die off, the first thing you think is, oh no, it can't be. The second thing you think is, oh my God, that's the end of those beautiful paydays. And then, you just go, hey, it's kind of like the way things have worked out throughout my career. There's a cycle in everything. Okay, that means it's just time for something else. Time to do something else, And I've been really fortunate that those something else's have worked also. So, you just say, okay, now, I didn't write it, I didn't create it, so, okay, thank you, I'll do the best I can, and fortunately, I had the opportunity to work with Dolph, so that what we did in the ring has its own kind of special stuff, and the way I went out and did my best to make that death really horrific without doing a lot, made it work even more, so, next.
By the way, I remember I felt really bad about the whole thing, because I watched the Rocky movies. I knew the character of Apollo Creed. He was a great fighter and played by somebody I looked up to. And I was just a kid, 27-year-old kid. I was like, oh damn, I got to do this now. And Stallone, obviously, he's the boss. Obeying the director, but I didn't feel good about it. I felt kind of bad. Actually, the character felt bad too. My character didn't really enjoy it, as maybe felt a little bit of the performance.
I was watching you and I saw the corner of my eye, you laughing as I read. You didn't enjoy it.
Sorry, I was thinking my acting didn't really work.
Okay. I misunderstood.
I was just following orders.
Didn't Drago say if he dies, he dies?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, but he said it because I think why that character kind of worked was it was like Frankenstein's monster. There's Dr. Frankenstein, there's Soviet system, and then there's the monster. And he wrote it like that.
This sounds like rationalization.
It wasn't like he was just a vehicle of the state. So I think even though I did some bad shit in that movie, I killed this guy, people kind of looked up to him and Drago anyway somehow.
Wait a minute. This sounds like I was just following orders. Come on.
But you did have a big mouth, you gotta tell me.
See, there you go. I think it's time for a rematch. I think it's time.
You're a little annoying,
I paid for that one.
Just doesn't know when to stop.
Keep going, man. Keep going.
We're gonna open it up to Q&A in a couple of minutes if you guys have any more Rocky questions or whatever. I wanted to go a little bit to some other films you were in. I'd like to first talk about Predator, which is one of the great stuff. You're the only one in the cast who's not become governor.
I have been asked. Yeah, but usually to become governor or any politician, you need a lot of people with a lot of money. Everybody who wants me to be governor has nothing. They're poor, I want some of those rich people to come up and ask me to be governor. All right, come on. That's what
state would you choose?
No. I think it's a really worthy pursuit, to be a politician. But man, just looking out at the landscape, there are not a lot of them that I think anybody says, you know what, my relative, I'm really happy with them. You know, most people, you know, it's a dirty profession. So I could say thank you, but no thank you. I'd rather be one on film than be one in real life.
Okay. But you know what you should do is you can run for governor of Rhode Island. That's about half the
population. She's about 9 years old. She has a black long sleeve shirt with a pizza skull on it and blue and pink sneakers, brownish red hair. 9 years old, Emma.
Who's lost Emma? Come on, go get Emma.
There's no Emma. Okay.
I was just going to say, I met Sheldon Whitehouse, who I really like. I mean, that man came across anyway. I won't go into the whole story, but anyway, I had a chance to sit and have a meal with him and he and a group of other people, in Los Angeles. And I really liked him. And my first question to him was, would you ever run for president? And he said, you know what? I think I like the job I have. But man, I applaud Rhode Island for Sheldon Whitehouse because he's a cool guy. I like him.
But anyway, so Predator, what was it like? What was that to?
First of all, aside from Rocky, it's one of the movies I'm most proud of that I have been a part of because it's kind of like what Rocky was in its way, a different experience for something that just you hadn't seen that movie before, and that group of guys, that was the craziest group of guys I had ever been around. And they came in all flavors. They were all crazy, but in a different way, right? And first of all, I mean, being around Arnold for a while, you just realize what a nutcase he is. But with that being said, I mean, this guy is a consummate professional, man, because he will do whatever it takes and work harder than anybody. And loves a challenge, so we were constantly challenging each other. And then you had Jesse, Minnesota, you understand a lot about Minnesota if you understand Jesse. And then we had Shane Black, who, my God, in fact, Shane has just written and directed the new Predator that's being made. As wacky as they come, but a brilliant guy. And, oh my God, other names. Bill Duke, who is one of the best people, is a director also, like myself. One of the best people I know, who died just recently. Sonny Landon, out there, man. But Heart of Gold, just all those guys. And then you had John McTiernan, who's a wonderful director. I mean, just one of the best I've ever worked with, nose, camera, and lenses, as well as any director I've ever met. And finally, I mean, God, we had a producer like maybe, no other producer that you'd ever want to work with. So it was just it was a magnificent time, a magnificent movie to be a part of in the 80s. And I don't think it'll ever be nothing like that, because that time, Dolph and I in the 80s, I mean, they made great movies then, and you didn't have a ton of special effects.
Dolph, speaking of great ensemble cast of an action film, I thought maybe we could talk a little about Expendables.
Well, there was just, for me, the most fun part was that I worked with Stallone in '85, and then, about 95, 2005, what about 25, 24 years later? In 2009, he calls me out of the blue. I got the script. So this script, so I started reading it. On page 3, there's Gunner, Jensen, drunk, Swede, who kills people, kind of thing. It's like, all right, I guess this is my part here. I like the script a lot because it's very clever and funny and kind of touching too. And then my character was supposed to die, as we were talking about, but Stallone changed somehow halfway through and decided to have Gunner live at the end. So when I have that death scene, when he shoots me, and originally that was the death scene of the character, and I have a line where, he rewrites the dialogue as you're shooting, and he's directing, so he's standing over me, and I'm there going, and he's like, say you want a Viking funeral. And I'm like, what? Just fucking say it. I want a Viking funeral. He rewrote the script right there. Anyway, so it turned out they finally ended up, back in the series, and then did another 2 of those, and I think there's a 4th one coming, maybe at the end of next year.
Opening up to the audience for your questions. I see there's one here in front.
So, questions for Mr. Lundgren. Being such an accomplished martial artist, European champion, transitioning to stand-up boxing, had you ever trained in boxing before? And if not, how hard was it to transition to that for shooting a Rocky Ford?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I did a little boxing in New York. I was thinking of becoming pro. Actually, I was getting a bit stupid. I was getting bored. And when it was going on with Grace, it was like, she's like, what? What are you talking about? No, I want to try. There's a great hope, and I can fight, and I can move well. So I trained at Leeson's gym, in New York for a while. I think the second time I was there getting the bag, some little black kid comes over to me and goes, hey, poses, he goes, and I go, yeah, what is it? He says, he points at this big kind of 240-pound black guy standing over me, and he says, he wants to kick your ass. I'm like, this is not like Sweden, I guess. So I was like, anyway, I just kept going. I did pretty well, but like a week before I was supposed to sign the contract, like Jerry Cooney was there fighting. I decided not to, and I think it was a smart thing. But I did know how to box and move quite well, even though, it's special, like Carl knows, you have to do it a different way. You have to kind of swing a little more in movie fighting, boxing. It has to telegraph a little more. But it was a good experience. Thanks.
How did you pull off the stunt where your arm got shot off in Predator?
I was going to say, I missed him in that movie. How did I pull off that stunt? I let it get shot off, and then I had it sewn back on. No, if you look really closely, and I've had a few people say that to me, oh, come on, I saw your arm popped behind your back. So that's the secret. I had my arm tucked behind my back. And the other crazy arm, right, was a prosthetic arm that when it was on the ground, they had it, wires and all that connected to the gun, so the gun kept going off, and the arm's flopping, right? And I'm standing with this stump hanging out there and screaming and turn around with the other arm. So if I fooled you, I'm so happy.
Of all of Rocky IV, I have a few favorite scenes, mostly the fighting, but your entrance into the ring with James Brown, all the music, that's my favorite scene of the film. How was it fit filming that whole scene of just, music, James Brown, beautiful women, and then going to go fight a Russian?
I love the way you summed that up. James Brown, beautiful women, and you're going to go fight a Russian. We can tell where you're headed. Well, first of all, Dolph was there. It took us a few days to shoot that. It was so huge. Personally, I think it's one of the best scenes in any movie I've ever seen because it's so bombastic. It's so over the top. It's so ridiculous that it's like your eyes don't know where to land because it's all over the place. What makes it work for me is Apollo Creed is so in his element as a showman. And Dolph, Ivan is coming up from the bowels of the earth, like, what the hell's going on? So it just is kind of juxtaposed in these two characters. Yeah. Just make it that much more exciting, no matter how much dancing. And of course, Mr. Brown was like, come on, just being on stage with him for me. Growing up as a kid, watching him and loving his music. He's an icon, right, all over the world. But I think just those two characters finally coming back on the same stage It's Slide. The best take in all of the movies that Slide's ever done was he looks over and he goes, what's going on here? It was just one of the best orchestrated, best written, best film sequences I've ever been a part of or ever seen. I love it every time it comes on.
Yeah, what's cool, yeah, you're right. You know what's really cool for me is like what you said, Carl, is that when I watch that movie once when it happens and see it, whatever, I don't watch it all the time, but if it's on TV, whatever. That scene, when I see myself as a 27-year-old kid standing there, you know, waiting, what's happening here, you know, standing there by myself, you know, and I remember what I was like, and it's interesting because somehow it captures the innocence of me, of Dolph, who I was in that moment when the character comes up and suddenly he's confronted by America, by American commercialism, and, you know, and Karen and this guy and Brown and all of that. So it's a cool moment personally for me when I remember what I was like in 1985. And the character becomes the same thing. It's kind of well done by Stallone.
Very, very well done.
The story behind getting James Brown to do that, because if you think of all the showmen in the world, he would do the best for it.
You know what? I mean, crazy thing is, I have no idea how that all came about, but you gotta give Sly a lot of credit. I mean, you know, first of all, to have come up with this idea in the very beginning. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously it was inspired by the Wetner fight and all that sort of stuff, but what he was able to capture about sort of the culture of boxing, plus the time in which we were kind of in America, and then every decade we had these kind of, you know, sort of paralleled our own personal lives. But the whole thing with the James Brown in Las Vegas and the crazy kind of like over the top of everything, it was so bombastic, but it made sense because boxing had become this place where it's put on a show. And he managed to capture it, he writes it, and as Dolph said, I mean, you know, best people I've worked with have been able to take moments and say, oh no, let's do it this way, or let's say this, or, you know, and you come up with these little gems that really work in the moment because the actors or actresses or whatever have a special quality at that moment. But Sly, first of all, had to think about it and construct it. And to get James Brown, I don't know how he did it, but I can't imagine any other performer in the world, maybe besides, maybe one of the guys who was long dead by then would be Elvis Presley, because of his whole thing, right? I mean, you know, that's the only person I could have ever thought that would work with. But James Brown and the guys spinning the horns and the whole nine yards, dressed together and all the women and the crazy stuff going on. James Brown, to me, that was like, I absolutely agree.
So our next question over here in front.
How you doing? My question is for Carl. Two-parter. First, were you in any way a part of Creed, the movie Creed?
No.
You weren't? And also, with the development in that movie where you find out that you had a son as a result of an affair.
Shock to me.
I was shocked too. I kind of think that like maybe kind of hurts the sympathy factor of the loss of that character in a way. Just wanted to know what your thoughts was on that.
That's a good question, man. Well, my first response to it was, wait a minute. You know, because for me, Apollo Creed has a special place, not only in my heart, but the hearts of many people. And to learn that Apollo Creed had this affair, and obviously we knew he was married because there his wife was like, what? Really? Okay. But I didn't write it. I didn't have anything to do with it. They owed me nothing in terms of an explanation. I was aware that was going to happen, and it wouldn't have been the way I would have, you know, told that story. But as I said to the director when he asked me about it, hey man, you're the director, it's your movie. It's not what I would do, but it's your movie, you know, bless you, move on. They made a lot of money, people liked it, so what are you gonna say?
Good answer. That's good.
Hi, I have a question for Dolph. I heard a story online about you, and I would like to just find out if it's true. The story goes that there's two thieves, and they break into a house, and they're about to rob it blind, and there's a female there, and they tie her up, and they're doing big bad guy stuff, and they see a picture on the wall, a family picture, and you're in it. It was your house, and they entitled the lady. They said they're sorry, and then they went and turned themselves in. Is that true at all? I kind of hope it is.
Dolph wrote that story.
I did write it, no, but it's kind of it's partially true. They did break in, they did steal some shit, they did see the thing, the pictures, and then they returned some of the things and left.
And they kept the picture.
Yeah, we were fans of theirs. No, that was in Spain, my house in Spain. I sent a few Bulgarians to look for them, but they couldn't find them. Keep them alive till I get there. That was the instructions.
The only thing about this story, though, to tell you how dumb they were, they should have asked you to autograph the picture.
I wasn't there.
Man, it's worth something. But look, okay, I'll send you back some of your stuff if you autograph the picture, okay? That was worth something, all right?
Hi, this question is for Carl Weathers. There's a scene in Rocky IV, and you're talking about fighting Drago, and in the middle of it, this giant robot comes in, and your character totally loses train of thought. I was just wondering about that scene. It just, I always love that scene.
Well, first of all, just think about it. You're serious, okay? You're serious. You're trying to get someone to kind of like help you out, get on your side. You're in this very, very, very like passionate place. And all of a sudden, a robot comes into the scene, and you go, what? You know, but hey, that's Sly. He writes some great stuff, you know? And of course, then you had Bert as Paulie. I mean, come on, man. You know, first of all, Bert, you have never met a sweeter, more generous, giving actor. And that character you see on screen is like 180 degrees from him. A guy who would take a baseball bat and kill the furniture and throw the turkey out the back door. That's not Bert at all. But being, you know, in the scene with those guys, man, and have this goofy robot walk in, and it's like, whoa, it just worked, you know, all of that stuff. Sly has a way of sort of adding levity in these things, you know. It was a beautiful touch.
Hey guys, my name's Chris. This question is for both of you. Following you as actors over the years, I've also, enjoyed following you creatively over the years. And, Carl, I know you've been involved in a lot of films and television productions, both as a director and a producer. And Dolph, Icarus, Command Performance, those are some of my favorite action films, and I know you were deeply involved creatively with those. So with that said, do you guys have any pet projects that you are working on creatively that you plan to bring to fruition in the next couple of years?
Yeah, I've got a couple, we all have a few, but one is a Swedish kind of World War I drama thriller that I've been trying to get made for many years because I'm from Sweden, but I never made any films there. But next year I can't do it because I'm probably going to be working on that other boxing movie, I think, and then there's other stuff going on. I want to direct it, so I have to prep, so I don't have time. And there's another picture, also another film in London I'm going to shoot, direct, and produce that I'm working on, maybe for next year as well. Yeah, those are two things I'm working on.
Okay, great. We have time for one more question. One question.
Okay, well, let me just say, I've got one project actually that I just did a shorter on that I wrote and that I really want to direct, and so I've got that. Basically, short is almost done the post. It's already online, and I'm getting the so hopefully I can find the money to do that because that I'm really interested in doing. I don't want to act in it. I just want to direct it. So that's that.
All right, cool.
I love seeing Dolph and Sly reunite and Expendables, and I was hoping for Carl. I was wondering, was there ever any talk of you joining as well? And is there talk of you like showing up in flashbacks and from pre-2 and everything like that?
Oh, no, I don't, if there is talk, I haven't been involved in it.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I think crowd should be an expendable sport. Why not?
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here.
What you just heard was a podcast in the Poop Culture Extended Universe. For more great podcasts, make your way to www.poopculture.com.